in the background. Oh yeah.
This part can't be filmed.
Matthew
Rorie.
What is it?
It's a Rorie, R-O-R-I-E. It's,
Rorie.
Rorie.
Yeah, I just can't read.
Old Irish.
Oh,
Came over.
lots of beer then. Matthew Rorie and Rob McGinnis. We're here with Matthew Rorie and Rob McGinnis, and we're looking at Neverwinter Knights 2, Storm of, what is that?
Zehir is what it's called.
Zehir. Okay. So, what can you tell us about this? This is the same kind of game as before, right?
It's the second expansion pack to Neverwinter Nights 2. And we've actually added a lot of new features to the game. The first big one is that you can make your entire party now instead of just one character. You can use all those characters in conversation with the new party conversation system. And there's a brand new overland map which lets you actually explore the entire game world.
This looks a little bit Middle Eastern almost.
Well, this where you land, you're actually on a shipwreck in the beginning of the game. You go to a place called Samarak, which is a jungle nation, very hostile to outsiders. And the first thing you see is this big band of what are called Batiri. They're jungle goblins, and they're not very friendly to you, obviously. So they've already kidnapped your captain. You don't know what they want, but eventually what they turn up wanting is to eat you alive. So the first thing you have to do in the very beginning of the game is defeat them.
They're
all.
very subtle about it.
They're very subtle. They don't speak much common, but they eventually get their point across by attacking you and trying to kill you. So we're just going to go ahead and start attacking them then. So the first big set-piece fight, we're going to have 3 waves of these guys coming at you, and then a 4th wave will spawn in. And it's supposed to be like a good way to get everybody into the fighting mood right off the bat. Eventually the fight will be over and you get arrested by the Samarakan guards, and that's when you warp over to the overland map.
They arrest you, huh?
They arrest you. We can actually show you the overland map if you want to see that.
Oh, great.
Let's load it up real quick.
Well, and I notice on the right here you have all the characters.
Mm-hmm. So you have all your party members.
There's loot on the ground.
There is loot on the ground. There are 3 bosses in this little fight here, so each one will drop a little bit of loot for you. You start off the game with barely any items at all, so eventually you do have to find some more stuff. And
One guy's dead.
Yeah, guy's dead, so it's a pretty tough fight. But usually you can do it in waves. We kind of started it all off and fought them all at once, but usually you can do it just one by one by one. So we're going to load up the overland map now and show you what that's like. So in previous Neverwinter Nights games, we had like a 2D map. You wanted to go from point A to point B, you would click on point B and just go there instantly. Right. But now we have this thing called the overland map, which kind of removes that abstraction. And it also lets you explore the game world, and it also lets you use a lot of the D&D skills, which have kind of been neglected in the past. So here we are in the overland map. This is the first city of Samargol. And after you leave the city, you can start exploring the world as you like. You can see there are roaming monsters here, so you can get into fights if you like to. We're very powerful, so they just kind of run away.
Well, that's smart.
Yeah, so here's like a good example of using skills. Our rogue has disabled device, the disabled device skill, so he popped that up, and he can sell what he found at a store. You can also flip between characters on the overland map, and depending on the skills you have, it determines what you can find on the overland map. So he's going to walk around here, and he doesn't see anything out of the ordinary. But if we flip over to our rogue again, he used his listen check over here passively. He didn't have to activate it or anything, and he found this crate, which he can walk up to and find some items in. So our dwarf fighter didn't have any listen points, so he would miss that entirely if he wasn't there.
I've never been able to understand certain things about some role-playing games. One of them is that why, after you've killed about 100,000 monsters in a particular jungle, why they don't tell each other, stay away from these guys, they're going to kill you.
Yeah, it's really weird because Neverwinter games have never really had the opportunity to respawn monsters and do that. Usually if you go to an area and you clear it out, it stays clear.
It clears out, right.
But here we wanted to make sure that there's a price for adventuring. So you go around, and there are a number of enemies, and you can usually fight them and defeat them, but eventually they will come back, and you'll have to deal with them again. It's a big world, but you can also use things like survival if you want to avoid the monsters, and that'll help you. Survival can help you avoid the monsters that are roaming around.
One game that I played many years ago had a means of closing off gates. It was in a dungeon.
Oh, really?
If you closed the gates off, there was no respawn. If you opened the gates again, there was respawn. So you had the option of turning it off or turning it on while you played.